Shirley MacLaine, a legendary Hollywood figure who originally gained notoriety for her breakthrough performance in Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry, has long since cemented her position in the annals of film. Having performed for over 70 years, she is still one of the few artists whose impact has persisted through the ages. However, beneath the spotlight of honors, renowned, Shirley's road hasn't always been easy, despite memorable personalities and performances. She has a number of co-stars who were challenging to collaborate with during her career. Some were so difficult that she found it difficult to put up with them on set. At 91, Shirley has now publicly discussed the one actor she detested. Working together. We investigate more closely at that tight working relationship and the co-star she claims she couldn't stand in this video. But first, let's go back in time and examine Shirley's early years and her rise to fame. Early life of Shirley MacLaine. Born Shirley MacLaine. In honor of child actress Shirley Temple, MacLaine Bay was born on April 24, 1934, in Richmond, Virginia. Her father, Ira Owens Bay, was a multi-talented professional and raised in a creative household. Shirley's artistic abilities were fostered by her mother, Canadian acting teacher Kathleen Karen MacLaine. Warren Beatty, her younger brother, would go on to become a well-known director and actor. Due to Shirley's weak ankles and frequent movements, her mother enrolled her in ballet when she was 3 years old. Her performing career began with ballet, and she studied hard while experimenting with acting and singing. Her tomboyish demeanor and tenacity were particularly noticeable. Her athletic prowess earned her the moniker Powerhouse. And, because of her height, frequently portrayed men in school musicals. When she hurt her ankle during a Cinderella rehearsal but still managed to complete the performance, it was a turning point. Shirley switched from ballet to acting after realizing it wasn't viable. Later, she went to Arlington's Washington Lee High School, where she excelled in drama and cheering, laying the groundwork for her ascent to fame in Hollywood. The career path of Shirley MacLaine in acting. Early on in her career, Shirley MacLaine spent her high school summers in New York City trying out Broadway. She changed her last name from Land to MacLaine after joining the dance group in Me and Juliet. Her breakthrough occurred when she assumed control of A. She received her first 5-year deal with Paramount Pictures for her performance in The Pajama Game following Carol Haney's injury. Shirley won a Golden Globe for New Star of the Year at the age of 19 when Alfred Hitchcock cast her in the 1955 film Trouble with Harry as a result of her performance. With films like Artists and Models, 1955, Around the World in 80 Days, 1956, Hot Spell, The Sheepman, and The Matchmaker, 1958, she rapidly established her reputation. Her flexibility in humor and drama culminated in a memorable performance in The Apartment, 1960, for which she received both critical and Academy Award recognition. Shirley's career featured important roles in Irmala Das, 1963, and Children's Hour, 1961, as well as collaborations with the Rat Pack in Ocean's 11, 1958. She persevered for 14 years without receiving any significant honors, even in the face of obstacles such as the 1969 financial failure of Sweet Charity and the loss of a $750,000 part in Bloomer Girl. The pivotal year of 1977, when she received her 4th Oscar nomination, marked the beginning of her strong comeback. With 1 Academy Award, 70 nominations, and 50 wins over the course of 60 years, Shirley MacLaine has established herself as a fearless, adaptable, and devoted performer. Deterioration in career and sudden interruption. Despite her enormous success, Shirley faced difficulties in her career. Some questioned whether she was losing steam after over 2 decades of outstanding roles, particularly in the wake of Sweet Charity's financial setback. Seeing this change, Shirley made the decision to take a few years off from acting in order to writing as well as other interests. She described a difficult meeting with Hollywood columnist Mike Connolly in her first memoir, Don't Fall Off the Mountain, which was published in 1970. One such instance occurred on June 11, 1963, when Shirley wound up on the cover of the New York Post following a furious altercation in Connie's office that resulted in her smacking him in the mouth. He wrote a story on her legal battle with producer Helby Wallace, whom she had sued for breach of contract, which led to the incident. Shirley's cinematic career significantly stalled between 1970 and 1976. She turned her attention to television, appearing as a photojournalist in Shirley's World, a sitcom that was co-produced by. Filmed in the UK with Sheldon Leonard and ITC. She then took a break from acting once more in 1972, this time to actively support George McGovern during his presidential campaign. William Blatty, a friend of Shirley's, invited her to join the cast of The Exorcist the next year. But director William. In the end, Friedkin rejected her because he thought viewers would identify her too much with her most recent supernatural movie, The Possession of Joel Delaney. She changed course in 1975 and co-directed the China memoir documentary The Other Half of the Sky with Claudia Weil. The film, which brought attention to Chinese women's daily life, was nominated for an Academy Award. Taking inspiration from her father's Keen, Shirley kept challenging herself creatively through her own deep curiosity about philosophy and human nature, her mother's artistic energy, and her own intelligence. She had a remarkable comeback as a vocalist in 1976, appearing at the New York Palace Theatre and the London Palladium. Shirley MacLaine's legendary return. Shirley MacLaine's career was distinguished by her tenacity, demonstrating that persistence may change the positions that women play in Hollywood. Her fourth Oscar nomination and significant career comeback came with her performance in The Turning Point in 1977. After 25 years of nominations, she finally won her first Academy Award in 1983's Terms of Endearment, and she then featured in Being There with Peter Sears. She kept doing well in films like Steel Magnolias, winning a BAFTA in 1989 and being nominated for another Golden Globe in 1990 for Postcards from the Edge. Shirley demonstrated her adaptability into the 21st century by taking on challenging roles, such as that of a First Lady protecting Tess in 1994 and a resolute mother in Terms of Affection. She won an Emmy and a Golden Globe for directing Bruno 2000 and starring in Coco before Chanel. Nominations. As one of Hollywood's most lasting and renowned actors, Shirley MacLaine continuously changed herself throughout the years while remaining loyal to her artistic voice. Marriage and relationships. Curiosity and unusual decisions characterized Shirley MacLaine's complicated romantic life. In 1954, she wed Steve Parker with. Paul, an astronaut, was the child's biological father, but she had a daughter named Sachi. The marriage, which was open from the beginning, was violent and tumultuous. Steve used financial manipulation to get Shirley to give him a sizable monthly stipend, purportedly for space travel, and she kept doing so until their divorce in 1982. While she was. In addition to her marriage, she had a passionate 3-year affair with actor Robert Mitchum because she was attracted to his wild and poetic nature. With the exception of Jack Lemmon, The Apartment, Hermala Das, and Jack Nicholson, Shirley said that she frequently fell in love with her starring males. Shirley's interests went beyond romance to include spirituality and metaphysics. She investigated reincarnation, meditation, and UFO occurrences. She is renowned for directing all-female documentary crews in China and Africa and traveling the 500-mile Camino de Santiago. Though they also generated controversy, these ideas informed her work in films like Postcards from the Edge and Defending Your Life. Shirley was also quite active in politics, endorsing George McGovern's 1972 presidential campaign, jeopardizing her career by investing $250,000 of her own funds. Her extreme individualism was exposed in public confrontations like her heated interview with Dave Letterman about reincarnation. Shirley MacLaine persevered in the face of love, financial, and professional setbacks, drawing inspiration from them for her artistic endeavors and spiritual development. And social activity, solidifying her reputation as a fearless, unorthodox, and timeless Hollywood icon. Shirley detested her co-star the most. It's strange that Shirley MacLaine met the co-star she hated the most in the same movie that made her famous. Actors have given Shirley a variety of descriptions over the years. She was a challenging co-worker to some. Depending solely on their personality and how they interacted with her on stage, she was a delight to others. Many believe that director Don Siegel was her least favorite co-star. However, that is completely untrue. Despite their disagreement, Shirley never harbored animosity against him throughout the filming of Two Mules for Sister Sarah. She was frequently made fun of by Siegel for having a harsh, macho vibe and being unfeminine. However, she subsequently declared that she appreciated and loved his tough, unapologetic demeanor both on and off camera. Therefore, if it weren't for Don Siegel, the man who mockingly referred to her as a man who, then, was at the top of her hatred list. Sir Anthony Hopkins, who is well known for his talent on screen and his well-documented battles with alcohol, is the next most likely suspect. Hopkins was undoubtedly one of the performers with whom Shirley had already had conflict prior to her notorious altercation with Deborah Winger. While A Change of Seasons was being filmed, two people got into a heated argument. Shirley reportedly reacted angrily when Hopkins called her obnoxious, saying that she didn't like him either. Their powerful, unyielding, and uncompromising personalities made collaboration a nightmare. Shirley attributed a lot of their arguments to Hopkins's drinking and in the end, the movie did so poorly that it won a Razzie for Worst Movie of the Year. Shirley MacLaine, however, detested Deborah Winger more than Anthony Hopkins as a co-star. This is even more unexpected because Shirley had always wanted to work with Deborah. From a distance, the two women adored one another and were delighted to, in terms of endearment, eventually share the screen. Behind the scenes, this pairing was anything but magical, despite the widespread assumption to the contrary. They could hardly stand one another off-screen, despite the fact that their on-screen performances were acclaimed and even eclipsed the catastrophe of a season change. Both were nominated for awards for their roles, with Shirley emerging victorious and characterizing Deborah as a turbulently brilliant actor. However, their connection was never truly cordial and remained superficial. Although both denied it, there were rumors of heated disagreements and even physical altercations. However, Shirley revealed an astounding tale in one of her memoirs. Deborah Winger is accused of yanking. During a fight, he farted in Shirley's face and up her skirt. Years later, Deborah was asked about it, but she was never able to offer a convincing explanation. After going through a number of embarrassing situations, Shirley MacLaine finally lost it and declared Deborah Winger to be the co-star she detested the most, promising never to work with her again. And even after decades have gone by, their conflict continues to make headlines even 35 years later. In addition to leading a brilliant artistic life, Shirley MacLaine is a unique Hollywood icon who has bravely and courageously faced social and personal obstacles. She is more than just an actress who won an Oscar. She is self-reliant, powerful, and incredibly inquisitive woman who has turned every encounter, every connection, every setback, and every victory into an endless supply of creative inspiration. Her life serves as a living example of the notion that success is determined not only by accolades or notoriety but also by the capacity to overcome obstacles, grow from mistakes, and persistently pursue the truth about oneself and the world. Shirley had a unique, fearless, and determined personality from her early years in Richmond, Virginia. Despite having weak ankles and a delicate frame at birth, she overcame physical constraints through ballet and sports, progressively gaining the self-control, fortitude, and perseverance that would serve as the cornerstone of her illustrious acting career. Her enthusiasm for her family encouraged her artistic endeavors, but each role and endeavor she took on presented challenges. Shirley never waited for a chance to present itself. She moved from Broadway to Hollywood and made it herself. From small parts to positions that will shape her professional life. The path of Shirley MacLaine's film career was never easy. She endured years without big honors, faced financial losses, and bore the high pressures of Hollywood's competitive and frequently brutal climate. Nevertheless, these difficulties strengthened her unbreakable spirit. Her flexibility from comedy to drama was demonstrated in roles in The Apartment, Irma la Douce, The Children's Hour, and Terms of Endearment. Also her deep awareness of human emotions and her ability to transmit them genuinely to audiences. When she eventually received the Academy Award for Expressions of Endearment after 25 years of nominations, it was more than appreciation of talent. It was a testament to patience, perseverance, and unwavering dedication. Shirley's personal life was as complex and fascinating, revealing a woman who both longed for love and valued independence and self-discovery. Her marriage to Steve Parker was difficult and controversial, defined by control and financial exploitation, including considerable monthly payments she made for Steve's supposed spaceflight investments. The exact numbers remain part of public conjecture, but these monetary strains underscore the individual struggles Shirley faced. Shirley's personal life became even more complicated when she learned that her daughter Sachi's biological father was really astronaut Paul rather than Steve. This shows how resilient Shirley is when faced with unforeseen realities. Shirley had a passionate affair with Robert Mitchum outside of her marriage. Revealed another layer of her romantic life. Their 3-year relationship undertaken while both were married was defined by a deep emotional connection and a shared spirit of adventure. Shirley discovered a kindred spirit in Mitchum, who shared her restless energy and curiosity, and was drawn to his poetic, wild character as a man who lived fully in the present. These partnerships, alongside others, highlight a woman brave to love profoundly yet reluctant to forfeit her autonomy or personal progress. Shirley MacLaine also distinguished herself through her political involvement and social participation. Alongside her brother Warren Beatty, she strongly supported George McGovern's 1972 presidential campaign. Even investing $250,000 of her own money despite probable professional dangers. Her bravery and honesty as an artist and a citizen were highlighted by her dedication to issues she supported and her readiness to take public positions. Equally compelling is Shirley's lifelong exploration into metaphysics, spirituality, and the inexplicable. She has publicly adopted views in rebirth, meditation, UFO occurrences, and other esoteric beliefs, incorporating these interests into both her literature and her presence. Shirley's experiences, which include walking the Camino de Santiago, living with the Messiah in Africa, and guiding the first all-female documentary team into China, demonstrate her unwavering curiosity and determination to find connection and truth outside of the norm. She persisted in living according to her views and encouraging others to venture into the unknown despite the criticism these ideals occasionally received. Resilience, bravery, and the ability to reinvent oneself are all evident in Shirley MacLaine's life. She has remained relevant in the entertainment world for almost 70 years by constantly changing, taking on difficult positions, developing side projects, and discovering new aspects of herself. She is a living example of how passion, curiosity, and personal development can persevere in the face of adversity, and that age is not a barrier to creativity. Shirley MacLaine is more than just a brilliant star in the spotlight of Hollywood. She is an example of self-reliance, intelligence, and sincerity. She emphasizes that the fortitude to face obstacles, live really, and seek meaning, connection, and truth are the true measures of a fulfilling life rather than awards or celebrity. From her early hesitant ballet steps to her self-assured steps on the red carpet in Hollywood, from personal disappointments to career successes, Shirley MacLaine has penned an incredible tale of art, love, and spirit. Shirley has maintained her pride, independence, and insatiable curiosity throughout her rocky marriage, passionate affairs, personal struggles, public scandals, and numerous accolades and accomplishments. She is more than just a famous person, an author, or an actress. She is a living example of bravery, sincerity, and tenacity. Her narrative serves as a reminder that one can still find light, joy, and purpose in the face of adversity, loss, wealth, betrayal, or public scrutiny. She has demonstrated that living a genuinely extraordinary life is about standing up, loving profoundly, learning constantly, and persevering in the face of adversity rather than avoiding hardship. Shirley MacLaine has continued to be influential in Hollywood and beyond. A lady who is both kind and strong, lively on screen and thoughtful off, a contemplator and an explorer. Her life narrative encourages us to live authentically, love completely, and dream big. It demonstrates that we can overcome obstacles and leave a lasting legacy if we possess bravery, curiosity, and fortitude. Shirley MacLaine is not just an actress. She is a living legend, an inspiration to future generations, and a brilliant example of a life thoroughly, passionately, and unabashedly lived. What are your thoughts, then, regarding Shirley MacLaine's tumultuous relationships with her co-stars? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Thank you for viewing. Click the link that shows up on your screen to read more stories about celebrities. See you at the next.